So it's no secret that I'm a massive enthusiast of the Alien narrative, the Alien sci-fi universe. And I was really excited when Alien the RPG was released. For me, behind every role-playing game, I believe what we're trying to do as a GM, as a game master, and as players in the game, we're looking to take our talents, our passions, our narrative, bring that to the table, step out of space and time, whether it's for a couple of hours on a weeknight or a weekend, to create this alternate world. Step outside of life, family, school, responsibility, all those things that get in the way of rolling the dice and creating the narrative. And the rule set has an important point, a central point in doing that. It's not the most important point. I mean, you need good players, you need a solid GM, but if there's a good rule set that can work with that can catapult that, that's very, very important. So looking through Alien, the chance to take on the alien in combat, in personal combat, whether as a civilian scientist or a colonial marine, that intrigued me. Secondary to that, the mythology, which I believe is the mythology of humanity, this idea of the star gods, the engineers, unlocking the power of DNA, a lot of themes against the backdrop of other more familiar things that we face in the day-to-day here and now, literally the power of corporations, the influence that they have, navigating that. What is your place going to be? What is your role going to be in the vast universe? Alien captures that all. With regard to the rule set, the two things for me that really nailed the narrative perfectly, that really captured it perfectly, was that it doesn't rely on personal player knowledge. And what I mean by that is we have a player personality, we have a background, a bio for our character, and we try to infuse our own personality into that. Sometimes we do it well, sometimes we think we're doing it well, and sometimes we don't do it very well. A good rule set will support that out-of-character ability, support that out-of-character knowledge. It will force you to adapt, and Alien captures this fantastically. So the two things that really, for me, put the narrative over the top. There's this idea of two types of play in the base game, a campaign and cinematic play. Now, this is not new to role-playing, but this system really focuses on those two options. Let's step back to Dungeons & Dragons for a moment. I love D&D. I think it's a great system, and I think a lot of us have experience with it as an anchor point. And if you've played D&D, you know that you can play it as part of a campaign, multiple adventures linked together. You start at level 1, you get experience, you level up to level 15, you travel through the Forgotten Realms, and there's a big experience at the end. You're kind of writing that narrative. And then you can also play D&D where you pull one of the adventure modules off the shelf, or we're going to get together and have an encounter. We're going to spend a Saturday rolling some dice, and it's all contained in a single gaming session. So this has existed in other systems. Alien refined that in that you can play campaign mode. You can go and play campaign mode, and there's intrigue. Maybe an alien is involved at some point, or the engineers, the star gods. Maybe that never even comes into play. Maybe you're just tracking down information about something. I mean, the campaign can be quite extensive. But you can also go into this idea of cinematic play where you create a character, you create a role, and you're thrust into the situation by the GM. And you're going to take on an alien. So it has this idea to role play that survival horror, to take that from the movies, to take that from a board gaming experience, a miniatures experience, and convert that into role play. I was highly intrigued by that because this offers two ways to play the game. This offers two unique ways to play the game, and it also allows role-playing people that are interested in role-playing games but maybe don't want to commit to a campaign. You can sit down at my table for a few hours and we can play Alien. I mean, that's... and get the full experience. That's very, very intriguing. So the other aspect of the Alien universe, unless you're an android, this idea that the alien inspires fear, not just directly when you encounter it, but when you're in the derelict, when you're in the space station, when you're in the spacecraft and things are going wrong and systems are failing and this alien is moving around. You don't know where. It could be in the next room. It could be in the air shafts. How do we communicate that as a DM? Well, I'm going to do my best as the GM to communicate that. But the rules have this idea of panic and insanity. This idea that to perform an action, you can push your luck, so to speak. When you're facing the alien and you attack and you are involved in running away from it or interacting with it, based on the actions you want to take, you add these dice that go against your success dice. And if enough of the it's kind of dice versus anti-dice. If the anti-dice come up, you can succeed in the action, but you can have a result of 3, 4, 5, 6 or higher insanity working against you. And then you look on a chart and your character can break, your character can freeze, your character can go insane. And literally it stops the role playing and that sanity is broken, and that's what your character does. Now, it's a little bit out of control, but again, this is not something unknown or not seen in role-playing games. Going back to D&D, you have control over your character until you have to make a saving throw against will to resist being charmed, or a constitution check to not be paralyzed. So effects are nothing new in role-playing games, but the idea of going up against the horrors of the alien and the alien universe and these different dice to work against your chances of success means it's not just pass or fail. It's not just binary or not. There's this idea like, okay, I walk up to the computer terminal and my back is against the wall, but the alien's around there. The alien's coming. There's air shafts. There's doors. There's 4 doors in the room. I'm going like crazy typing on the terminal to try and close these doors. Well, it's going to take a couple of turns. I'm rolling for success, but the longer I stay there, the more that these panic dice that I roll could potentially build up. It simulates the fact that I know the alien is, it's here. It's here. It could be in this room any moment. I should get out of here, but I need to close these doors. I need to seal these airlocks. That, through the narrative and rolling the dice and having the dice interpret results, it's very, very intriguing. And it captures, in my mind, the alien universe so well and so important. The other aspect that intrigues me is the alien itself. It's hard to beat. As a civilian with improvised weapons, I won't say it's impossible, but direct confrontation, it's probably very, very, well, it is very, very challenging, and it's going to be very hard to do. If you're a colonial marine, armed up, there's still a massive risk. Compare that to D&D or some other role-playing games where as you go through the adventure or as you level up, so to speak, you become very godlike. You're literally casting magic spells and slaying dragons, and even if you die, you just do a healing surge and you're back on the table, or you get a free res from the cleric, you're back on the table. I mean, that's a different type of mythology. But an alien, you're a normal person. And even if you're an android, and the players don't know you're an android, you're still within the limitations, physical limitations. So now you have to approach it from the perspective of, okay, as a normal person, think of yourself right now on a derelict spacecraft, because you want that bonus. You want that finder's bonus. It was just supposed to be go in, survey, take some pictures. The shuttle docked. You went in. The shuttle blew up. We don't know why. You're getting stuff on the motion tracker. You're getting movement. Alpha team, they went static, dead. You don't know where they are. Like, what's going on? You're a normal person. You're literally you on the tabletop thrust into this. I find you can't rely on the dice. You can't rely on the power. You can't rely on the magic spells. You can't rely on 120 hit points. You can only literally rely on yourself, your creative thinking, what is your game plan? What are you looking to do? I mean, that's the intriguing part, where it's literally you as a person versus an alien. And I don't know of any other games that I've played that accurately capture that or accurately reflect that. And for those three reasons, the two main reasons and the one sub-reason, I think Alien captures the Alien universe perfectly. And I think if that's something you're interested in, definitely worth checking out, and definitely some unique features of a role-playing game as opposed to let's just slap something together, slap Alien on it, slap a picture of the alien on it, and push it to market from that perspective. We usually don't see something as well done and as creative as something like Alien the RPG.